Warning, this video contains a doctor's rant and explanation of the various pros and cons concerning many of today's most popular diets, including keto, carnivore, vegetarian, and vegan. This series is low in production and high in value. Enjoy.
All right, my friend, welcome back. This is Dr. Anthony Balduzzi, the founder of the Fit Father Project and the Fit Mother Project, and I'm the guy ranting in this three-part video series about what the heck nutrition. Why is there so much conflicting information? Why are carnivores and ketogenic diets so popular and getting good results with people? And why are the plant-based people saying the exact opposite and also seeing good results? And why are some people feeling better on one camp or the other? And what's the deal with the gut microbiome? And what should I even be eating? That's what we've been discussing in this series. So, excuse me, just drank a little water before starting part 3 here. Where we ended up last time is we talked about plant-based diets and why fiber is really essential for fueling the gut microbiome, and why plants, as long as they agree with us and as long as we eat the right number of carbohydrates and we are insulin sensitive and we're not spiking our carbohydrate levels, can be a beneficial part of our diet, but they're not required because we can also run off the animal foods, which has its own set of pros and its own set of cons. What we're getting to is the idea that there are valid points on both sides of the equation, and there's problems on both sides of the equation. Guess what? Neither of these things is perfect. And we have also sidelined the concept of ethics, because as we're having a population of 7 billion, on its way to 8-9 billion, and we have to feed all of us, we have to think about what's the cost to the environment potentially of the foods that we're choosing to run as primary sources. It's very easy for us as egos to only think about what we think of as ourselves versus the larger macroscopic organism that is us dynamically interacting with the planet and all the other animals here. We've tabled that for the purpose of talking about nutrition, not to say it's not of vital importance, just to say we can talk about that more in the future if we'd like to. So what I think is the best diet from coming here is first needs to be said that the first thing we need to do is clean your health up. And what this typically means is we're going to understand your body, as we talked about in part, I believe 1 and 2, as a tube. You're a tube, your digestive tract's a tube. To clean you up, we need to clean the tube up first. And so what this often means is getting stuff moving through your tube that hasn't been in there for a long time. This is why there are a lot of old school doctors. I'm a naturopathic doctor, so we believe in nature cure, supporting the body in its own ability to stimulate healing. Things that are nature cure principles are, using juicing, using fasting, using exercise to really upregulate the body's own natural production of things that heal, is using fasting to help clean the digestive tract up. A lot of old nature cure doctors and some new ones, like Dr. Gerson, who is working on cancer completely naturally. And I'm not making a comment on chemotherapeutics here. I'm just saying this is what this guy did. He uses juicing and cleans out the digestive tract with coffee enemas and to help get the tube clean. The coffee, particular type of coffee they use, stimulates glutathione, one of the natural antioxidants, and cleans the tract out. Whether you're putting coffee up your butt or you're getting a colonic or you're changing the kinds of fiber you're eating, we need to clean up your GI tract. And we need to make sure we're not putting stuff in your body that is inflaming you. This comes down to individual food sensitivities. Your immune system reacts to different things than me. And we also need to know that the reactions you may be experiencing right now might be due to the fact that you have an inflamed, leaky digestive tract from years of eating sugar, non-organic grains, snack foods, all this bunch of processed crap and trans fats. So we got to eliminate those. We got to get the right foods in, get some good probiotics in from those fermented foods we talked about, and start to heal the GI tract and reduce inflammation. Because we can't build a house on quicksand. We need to make sure the tube is there before we layer on what would be an optimal diet. Because here's the fact of the matter. The optimal diet when healing may not be the optimal diet to continue to stay on long term, right? It's phasic. There are certain things we do when we're sick versus, when we're not sick. It's like we have different protocols for different stages of our health journey. So I would say a lot of the worst foods that are inflaming most of us are low quality animal meats. Think about any fast food restaurant serves. Low quality fried chicken or beef, obviously BS. Fried potatoes, sugars, anything that pretty much comes in a box in a bag that has grain in it, gone. Got to get those out. You make that one change, and if you include carbohydrates, you only get them from whole food plant sources, your health will skyrocket. I promise you. And that's to be said that most people tolerate these foods. If you find that rice causes you problems, you don't need to eat rice. But I bet you get some benefits from having certain kinds of organic fruits and certainly from having fermented foods in your diet. We got to start there, which I also recommend we keep the carbohydrate levels lower as we're healing. A lot of us have problems with blood sugar regulation. This is what prediabetes is. Essentially, we have eaten so much sugar that it's constantly in our bloodstream that our pancreas literally has to secrete so much insulin all the time to keep up with the amount of sugar we're eating. And we never give ourselves a break because we eat, all these square meals every few hours. And then the cells that are normally receiving sugar with their GLUT4 receptors and the insulin receptors are bombarded all the time that they get tired, I guess you could say for the analogy, and they don't work as well. They get resistant. Then we have insulin floating around the bloodstream. And then that sugar is binding to your hemoglobin. It's binding to structures in your brain. It's leading to a pre-Alzheimer's type condition. It's the fasting insulin's making you fat. That's high. So lots of things happen there. So how do we really just, boom, cut that whole process in the cord? Lower the carbohydrates. That's why keto works so well for people, is because you're getting the carbohydrates out of the equation. And so the pancreas can relax. Not as much insulin is needed, although protein does still stimulate some. It's not to the same extent as carbohydrates. And the fats, the healthy fats too, can help blunt the blood sugar spikes of anything you eat. Now, obviously, a meat is very slow digesting, so it's not like you're getting spikes of insulin hugely per se. But it also depends on what you eat, because dairy, which we will cover in today's video as well, we haven't touched on so far, does uniquely raise insulin more than other foods for a lot of different reasons. So what we talked about so far is in the phase of healing, we want to get good probiotics and prebiotic foods in there, and we want to lower the carbohydrates. And then what we choose to do on top of there in terms of including proteins is kind of up to your stances on, I believe, these things about sustainability, environmental ethics, and your palate. So from that baseline we just had of lowering carbohydrates to start to heal, you can do that from plant-based or from animal-based. Carnivore is the exception because those guys go to the extreme and they get rid of all these veggies, which I would say potentially to the detriment of not including some things that could be good for you. You can go ahead and include plant-based proteins as long as they're prepared properly, like as we talked about in video 2, and they don't have all these anti-nutrients as the next amount of your carbohydrate bolus, or you can include animal foods. If you include animal foods, then you want to make sure they're of the highest quality. And this also comes down to where I'm not an expert on this, but I think it is important in this branch point. This is the branch point here between vegetarians and vegans and carnivores. It's like we know all that good lowering of carbohydrate level for the most part, and certainly getting all the processed carbs out, and the gut probiotics are stuff we can all agree on. Then it's like, where are we getting the rest of our calories from? Are we getting those special particular nutrients in animal foods, or are we going with the plant foods? And that's where sustainability comes in. We do know that it takes a tremendous amount of water and energy to raise cattle. And we do know a lot of the deforestation is coming from getting more range for cattle to roam so that we can feed more people beef because of demand. Ultimately, when we're looking at this many of us humans working together, it's economics. Supply, demand dictates pricing, dictates what people are going to continue to serve. As much as we are well-intentioned, the choices that we make about the foods we do are impacting the marketplace. And so this is where we have a little bit of voting power, I guess you could say, in the landscape of civilization and what we want to see in supermarkets into the future. And that is for you to decide. That's for you to decide, and we'll pause there. So what my diet personally looks like is I like to do vegetable juices on occasion because it's such a concentrated form of lots of nutrition. I have whole organic fresh fruits, probably once a day. I have a giant green salad with a diversity of different fiber containing foods, sprouted nut seeds, once a day. I have overnight oats that has been prepared properly to lower the phytic acid by using apple cider vinegar, with some organic berries and maybe some protein powder, maybe once a day. And I'm not saying I'm having this many meals per day because I also do intermittent fast. I'm just saying these are, I guess I should reword it, but these are foods that I have. And then I do occasionally have animal foods. And when I do it, I make sure they're of the highest quality. Wild sardines, organic line-caught salmon, Personally, I have moved away from grass-fed beef, although I ate it for years as a bodybuilder, and I believe it can have health benefits if prepared properly. So that's kind of where it is. And listen, a lot of my food up until dinner is raw because I want to keep the fibers intact. I want to keep the vitamins and minerals, and it makes it sound crazy. Oh, Anthony's a raw foodist. Well, it's fruit. I mean, are you cooking your fruit? Salad. Are you cooking your salad? Overnight oats. I just happen to not cook those. Juice happens to be juice, right? I'm not cooking my juice, but I will have some cooked carbohydrates on occasion, or there's times where I keep it lower carb. If I'm not exercising as much and I want to run a little bit more off fat, you can drop the carbs, and you could probably drop the fruit out of the juice and definitely drop the oatmeal, and then you have a low carb version of this plan. Lots of different tweaks. I also think it's important from a behavioral perspective, as we teach in our Fit Father and Fit Mother Project programs, is that nutrition is not just about foods, it's about structure. It's like, when are you eating per day? What is the meal timing setup that works best for you? Because it's different than me, because you have kids, jobs, responsibilities, times you like to go to the gym, and that all influences when you should eat. That's why it's not as simple as saying you should intermittent fast. This is the best way to eat. Or you should always have breakfast. This is the best way to eat. These are strategies. As long as you're eating the right kinds of foods, high quality, all the things we discussed, which I know is a long checklist, you can be healthy, whether or not you intermittent fast or not. But find the meal timing setup that works for you. That's why in our programs, we give people 5 meal timing setups, because it's like, hey, these are 5 options we know work well. Even options if you work the night shift, which you know is not good for your health, pick the one that works for you. So you got to find yours, and then you set that in stone, and then you get 1 to 2 options in each of those time slots. Like, these are the keys to the kingdom, people. I promise you. Like, you remove all the choice bias, because I know you're busy, and I'm sure you don't enjoy ruminating and thinking about what you want to eat. But I know if I gave you the right kinds of healthy foods you love, and I showed up every single meal, and I'm like, hey, here's your favorite healthy food bowl, you'd love it, right? You pay for that service for sure. Do that for yourself. Little bit of pre-paving. Know what your go-to meals are in each of those categories. That's why our Fit Father Project guys and our Fit Mother Project guys, a lot of them do morning shakes. Easy to digest the shake. It's not like you're digesting heavy food in the morning. Not a lot of digestive stress. Takes 5 minutes to make standardized. You feel great. And then they do more variety later for dinner. Behavioral patterns and knowing yourself and knowing where your pitfalls are essential for being healthy. Other things I'll say. We haven't talked about fluids too much throughout this conversation, but stay hydrated, right? And that means drinking high quality water. Probably ideally not in a bunch of plastic that's been heated, the whole BPA estrogen thing, because environmental toxins are a real thing, people. The average newborn today, I think there was a study headline, I didn't read the full study, but that the average newborn has like 287 plus different chemicals found in the umbilical cord. These are things like plastics that we put into the environment, pesticides, flame retardants, different industrial solvents. Like, we're being exposed to these things all the time. From the air we breathe, our skin absorbs things. Like, it's a reality of 21st century living. So that's why, we want to make sure we're supporting our body, knowing that we're getting influx and we have the ability to detoxify and make sure our nutrition is so good, because we're going to get this damage already from environmental toxicants. So when it comes down to the water thing, you want to make sure you're drinking good, clean water. And I would add some pink Himalayan sea salt and some trace minerals in there. And that's another benefit of eating fruits and veggies. Soak up some of those good minerals, because we need the mineral balance. You need the right amount of potassium, and that's great. Potassium's, we don't hear enough about potassium. You need 2 times the amount of potassium as you do sodium. But all of our foods are so salted. So this is why we need to eat fruits and veggies, I think, is a really great source of potassium. That helps keep this precious mineral balance so we're not dehydrated. Most of us wake up, we drink coffee, we're not drinking enough water. So the things that I drink, high quality water through my Berkey filter, with pink Himalayan sea salt, trace minerals, not all the time, but in the morning I certainly get a bolus of the minerals. Organic teas, I love holy basil. Green tea, a lot of great research on organic green tea for fat burning and cognitive health. Good antioxidant as well, the EGCG. Hibiscus tea. There's a Dr. Greger out there from nutritionfacts.org who turned me on to this. Amazing. Lots of polyphenol, antioxidant compounds. Amazing. But like all these different kind of like, a lot of these teas are great. You want to get a high quality organic tea that doesn't have a bunch of BS sprayed on the bag, and that's the leaves are tested for like fluoride and stuff that plants can suck up through the soil. But like, drink tea. Drink vegetable juice, especially if it's fresh pressed. And I would even say it's not a problem to include an apple or a carrot or a beet inside your vegetable juice, but basically, I'm not saying just like juice pineapples and drink that amount of sugar, but if you're juicing like kale, apples, celery, beets, like amazing stuff for you. Lots of concentrated nutrition in a way that's easily accessible for your body. And I would say that I could shoot a whole video, and I probably will, on fasting itself, because our bodies do a lot of phenomenal things when we do fast, both water fasting and juice fasting. Even just taking a 24-hour fast once a week is a great way to actually upregulate a lot of things. Your growth hormone goes through the roof. Your fasting insulin goes down. Your insulin sensitivity improves. Some of these inflammatory markers start to go down from one 24-hour fast a week, and you burn a lot of fat. That could be a cool thing to try. I also lead these retreats called Revivery, where we do extended water fasting, 3, 4, 5 days. And listen, I mean, in the world of water fasting, it's a good fast for producing effect. You could certainly go longer. That needs to be under supervision. But a 3, 4 day water fast, you can get like a 30% replacement of your immune cells. They're now using fasting to fight cancer in conjunction with chemotherapeutics. It's like amazing what happens when we give our bodies a break from food. There's lots of great metabolic things that happen. Inflammation goes down, the gut rests and heals, our immune system gets stimulated, and then a lot of our cells revitalize. We break down old proteins through the process called autophagy. I could get excited about this. Your body even builds new brain cells, like amazing stuff during water fasting. So that could be something to do once a quarter, for example. Little clean out. Give the body some rest, because we're going to accumulate, right? We're accumulating food. We get stressed. Our digestion's not as good as it is. Food is sitting there. We're getting environmental toxins, through our products, our cosmetics, like all these different kinds of things is the reality of life. So it's sometimes good to give the body a reset. Longer juice fasts, also very beneficial. Why? Because we're giving the calories. You can still participate in life versus a water fast, which no calories, a lot more difficult, feel tired and crappy sometimes on water fasts. It's the reality. And again, I'm not saying you should do any of this. Just giving you the landscape of stuff for you to explore. Juice fasting, you can go for 100, 200 days. I just went for 2 weeks. Amazing. Really, it'll start to clean out your entire digestive tract. You're going to poop stuff out that's been in there for a while, because trust me, when you're putting liquids in and not putting solid food in, and stuff continues to come out for days, you'll know you had stuff in your colon that was sitting there for a while, because you eat stuff and stuff gets gunked up. And the colon and the entire intestinal tract in general is very curvy, lots of pouches, lots of places where stuff can get gunked up. So this was a survey on human nutrition, and this is literally one piece of the larger conversation about circadian rhythms, exercise, breathing, healthy mindset, sunshine, also things that need to be discussed. I'm going to leave this for now as almost an experiment. I haven't done long ranty videos like this yet before, and I hope that people do listen to this and hear these messages, and that you start to explore and seek for yourself. I'm just trying to give you the big picture, what I consider the truth based on my understanding of the data and a lot of my direct experience. And I've had the privilege of also using these principles on literally 20,000 plus people through our Fit Father and Fit Mother programs. So I'll leave this here. If you want to explore other topics, comment below. And then if that comment gets upvoted that says, hey, let's do this, I'll shoot more videos and we can keep on ranting like this. Hope you found this valuable, my friend. I hope this stimulates your ability to really seek for your health and for your family and to take charge of your health. I know my team and I are here to help you. Reach out too. Love to hear from you. I'll talk to you soon.